And he described Judge Kavanaugh in these terms. Said he was a big family man. He read his Bible every day. He was a strong Second Amendment supporter. But, Dean, he never once mentioned that he was an impartial interpreter of the U.S. Constitution.
And that's a good point, Carol. And I think the reality is now, and you laid it out really well, the stakes are really high in this country now going into this choice for the next Supreme Court justice. And there are people on the right who want to impose Christian Sharia law in this country. And what I mean by that is they want to turn the Bible to the law of our land. Mike Huckabee has literally said, you cannot change the Constitution, but you can't change the Bible, but you can change the Constitution to agree with the Bible. Rick Santorum has said that our laws must comport with the Bible. There are people who want to turn America into the Christian version of Saudi Arabia, and this Supreme Court pick might just let them do that. So it's not about morality. The Supreme Court decisions have an impact on cultural norms. And I guess touch morality, like when Loving versus Virginia, 1967, said blacks and whites could get married, there could be no laws to prevent that any longer. That moved cultural norms forward in the country. So to me, it's less about morality, it's about cultural norms, what's acceptable in this country and what's not. Overturning gay marriage or getting rid of Roe versus Wade, saying women can't control their own bodies, horrible change to cultural norms in this country.
Okay, so this conversation is starting to freak me out. I'm just not talking about Democrats, but Republicans.
Well, here's the thing. So I came on here to have an earnest conversation. I've been happily on here in the past, and we've had one. And you started with me, and I tried to have a conversation where we might get to a place of agreement. Right away, you go to Dean after me. He basically says people with my worldview are, what do you call us, Christian Saudi Arabia.
Christian Sharia, Christian Sharia law advocates,
you did not
exactly.
push back on that.
I'm not saying you, Steve. I'm not saying you are. I don't know
Carol.
you.
I mean, that's just a preposterous statement.
I cited Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum. It was very specific.
Wait,
Carol, did you ask me a question or did you talk to Dean? Okay.
No, I asked Steve a question.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Once you say certain things like that, that might be great for Dean's audience on Sirius XM of all people that already agree with him. And I can play this game too. I can go cultural Marxist and we can go back and forth with our quips and our trolls. Nothing gets accomplished. So right away, I made an attempt to have a higher-minded conversation. Instead, we go right to pro wrestling. Dean does his Bobby the Brain Heenan act, and we're off. And any attempt at having any sincerity whatsoever where there might be some common ground is already done. You guys in the media don't play referee when this stuff happens. And this is why a lot of conservatives like me don't come on shows like this, because we get set up to be foils. We get set up to be straw men. And here was an attempt where I tried to have a legitimate conversation, and it's already over, Carol. It's already over.
I will take your point. I should have pushed back at the Christian Sharia thing.
Well,
but then...
No, I've written about this for
exaggeration,
CNN.
But Dean does have strong views about this.
And I've written about this for the Daily Beast. To me, Christian Sharia law, Steve, just so it's clear, Sharia in this context is simply shorthand for turning religious beliefs into the laws of the land. That's what they're about. I'm not going through the Bible and saying turning this or that. To me, that's what Sharia is in the Muslim world. Sharia is attempts here. That's all I'm saying. I'm not sure why you would be upset unless you're advocating that, and I'm not suggesting you are. We don't want laws based on the Bible. Steve's had enough. Steve's not used to people actually raising issues that he doesn't agree with, apparently. This is America. We could have this conversation. It's ironic. He just said we don't have conversations, and he walks away from a conversation. Carol?
Well, I do think he felt put upon, and in fairness, he felt that you were accusing him as being part of Christian Sharia, and that's why he walked out. And I have about 40 seconds. So, Dean, is there a final thing that you'd like to send to Steve?
To Steve, maybe we can be Facebook friends. You know, he can follow me on Twitter at Dean Obeidallah. That'll be fine. Let's be honest. You have to have honest conversations about the stakes that are in place right now. Yeah. The stakes are women can lose their right to have control over their own body. Our LGBT community can lose the right to get married. So I don't care his feelings were hurt when we're talking about the truth. The stakes are that high. We have to talk about it. And that's too bad for Steve if he doesn't like the truth.
He said he was willing, but then you called him that.
I didn't call him names. I quoted Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum very specifically to make the point. I'm talking about that wing of the right. Steve took it personally. I don't know why.
Okay, I have to end it there.